Busch Gardens Williamsburg got its last coaster last year, being the Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge, and before that, it got Dark Coaster. But its last thrill coaster was Pantheon, which was originally supposed to open in 2020, but because of COVID was delayed 2 years, opening in 2022. This means that they haven't got a thrill coaster in over 6 years. But recently, they released a survey with multiple new thrill coasters, including a B&M Giga and a RMC Hybrid. And in my opinion, it would be better fit with a RMC Hybrid, and they could put the Giga and the one in Tampa, Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. But where would this RMC Hybrid even go? Because they do not have that much space to put it in because of how much other stuff they have in the park. They do own some more land next to where Apollo's chariot is and behind Pantheon. But to do this, they would most likely have to get rid of the Roman Rapids, which would not be too sad because lots of other parks have rapids. This would also give them the opportunity to reuse the theming of the Roman Rapids for the new coaster, and this would be able to give them an easier way to name it, being like the Roman Rampage or something, to point nods towards the Roman Rapids in a kind of like remembrance way. But the removal of the Roman Rapids would also give them an opportunity to make other stuff there since it's so wide, and they could make the RMC go out far instead of staying close. It would also give them a big chunk of land to do other stuff like a restaurant or a flat ride or whatever they're feeling like, maybe a staged area for a new show. It would give them more opportunity to build stuff around where the RMC could start, and it could just prove the Festa Italy section a lot without them having to change that much except remove a ride, build a huge ride. It's a lot. They have to do a lot. But it would make it way better, and it would really help the area over there make it even better than it already is. Because it already has two major rides there. But the RMC Hybrid could be a record breaking one, being the tallest in the world, and maybe even having the most inversions. It will most likely not be beating Steel Vengeance airtime record because that's just insane. It'll probably also not be breaking the Steel Vengeance length record because that's also insane. And really, the only park that can make a giant hybrid that has that much airtime is really Cedar Point, which is where Steel Vengeance is, which makes sense because it is the coaster capital of the world. But if they do decide to go with that Giga Coaster, it will most likely be in the same area or alongside of one of the other areas because they can be put there because of the way they are. And it would most likely lay out if they do put it next to the side of an area, but they could put it where I'm saying the hybrid could go, which would make it not a out and back layout and more be like Orion at Kings Island, which is not really an outer back layout, but kind of is. But they could build more like that, which I feel like it would be a great addition. But I feel like the Giga should go to Tampa instead because it would be amazing to see a hybrid there. But it would be weird with a hybrid there and at King's Dominion. So they're most likely going to go with the Giga, which is kind of sad in my opinion because I love the hybrids, and the Gigas are not as good as the hybrids in my opinion, but Twisted Timbers is right there and it is amazing. So it would be complicated for them to have to put one there if there already is a hybrid at King's Dominion, which there is, which is the same reason King's Dominion did not get a B&M Hyper and instead went straight to getting a Giga Coaster. And if they go with being them for the Giga Coaster, it is going to be completely different than King's Dominions, since that is a crazy Giga Coaster made by Intamin, which I love it more than any of the B&M Giga coasters because in my opinion it's better, but for most of the general public, they think that Pantheon is too intense, so they would much rather like a B&M Giga, which is why the Leviathan and Fury 325 and Orion all have huge lines every day because they are huge pleasers for the general public because they're not very intense. They're more of big, sprawly layouts with amazing airtime, with a couple intense moments, especially on Fury 325 and Leviathan, but Orion doesn't really have anything intense, which makes it even better for the general public, which is the same reason they love the dive coasters, since they're not intense at all and they just have huge inversions and that crazy drop, which both enthusiasts and the general public love. So, it is sad, but we are most likely not going to see a hybrid coaster there, but instead a Giga, which is still not bad because Gigas are amazing. Even the B&M ones, they're still really fun and great coasters. And there's no roller coaster I have been on more than the Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland, since it's my home park and it is such a good coaster. Even if it's not that intense, it gives you amazing airtime and it has some really fast paced parts. The entire ride is extremely fast and it just makes for an amazing ride, just not as good as a hybrid coaster from RMC due to their intensity and amazing ejector airtime, especially on Steel Vengeance, which is my favorite roller coaster for good reason. It's such a good coaster, and it is sad, but I'll still be happy with the Giga Coaster and I'm really excited to see what is next for Busch Gardens because it is just such a good park and they always make amazing coasters and they do not have any bad coasters in their lineup, which Canada's Wonderland does, but thankfully Busch Gardens is great and unlike the one in Tampa, they have great operations and I am really excited to see what happens next. Thank you for watching the entire video. I hope to see you next time. Please like and subscribe, and goodbye.